and I found myself in tears on the shoulder of the parkway. I truly was trying my best, but I felt like I was out of options and out of time to find a better way, a better life, or a safer, more stable way to live. A $15 minimum wage will change the lives of so many like myself. No longer will we have to hold up the line at the grocery store trying to figure out which basic need items we have to give back to the cashier in order to stay within our budget. Toothpaste or 2 apples, soap or bread. And I am one person. Imagine the hardship and sorrow of low-wage earners who must also look out for their children and elders. Simply being able to afford basic necessities will make us feel like we are contributing to society and eliminate so much shame and despair that so many face every day. Because of this legislation, I will be able to work locally and know that I will be guaranteed a living wage that will cover my expenses. This bill offers those on low-income budgets the freedoms and liberation that come with financial burdens and reduced, and daily life is manageable. The opportunity to not only pay our priority expenses, but have money in our pockets to spend with friends and family at a pizzeria and the movies. It is a new day. It is a new time. I am sincerely grateful and thankful to Governor Murphy, Senate President Sweeney, and Assembly Speaker Coughlin for understanding the hardships of low-wage workers and the potential we have to strengthen New Jersey. Thank you for your tireless efforts making $15 per hour a reality. I also want to thank advocates like the Raise New Jersey Coalition, Anti-Poverty Network of New Jersey, and unions such as 32BJ, HTC, absolutely. As well, Unite Here. They have contributed to this much-needed change. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce Governor Phil Murphy.
Thank you, folks. Good afternoon, Brian. Thank you so much for that story and that extraordinary introduction. Before we get on with the program, I want us all to take a moment to remember a tremendous advocate and champion for equality who we lost last night, Babs Siperstein. At her blessed core, she was a mom, a grandmother, a small business owner. Literally not 2 weeks ago, she was on hard with Tammy and me about understanding exactly how this minimum wage was going to be phased in. And in the long and proud history of New Jersey's LGBTQ community, few voices spoke with the power and passion of Babs. She was a good friend and mentor to Tammy, to me, and to so many here today, and was never shy to push us to open our hearts and minds and to move our thinking ever forward. Just a few days ago, ironically, a law enacted in her name took effect, providing transgender New Jerseyans the ability to have a birth certificate that matches who they are and allows them to live with the dignity they deserved. I signed it. I want to thank the legislature for sending it to me, and I signed it on July 3rd with Babs and her daughter Jana. That law was Babs' last great fight for equality. But in every major victory for LGBTQ rights in New Jersey over the past several decades, she was there as a leader in the truest sense of the word. Our state has lost a true champion for equality. But while today we mourn Babs' passing, we must also recognize what she would want us to do, and that is to keep fighting inequality and intolerance in all its forms and wherever it lurks. And as we continue that fight, we will also always feel her presence. God bless you, Babs. And so, Brian, thank you again for that extraordinary introduction and for that extraordinary and moving story, which is one of the thousands I suspect could be told in this room. Giovanna, thank you for your words. I'd only suggest you need a little bit more energy and passion when you speak. Thank you both for all you have done to get us to today. There were so many people to acknowledge today. I'll get to legislators who were sponsors of this in a minute, but this is a room full of extraordinary individuals. I don't recall a room like this in my life in New Jersey. So there's a whole passel of elected officials here. I want to thank Chris Bolwidge and Elizabeth for hosting us. And his counsel and all of his colleagues, to the Union County team of legislators, freeholders, constitutional officers, thank you for your hosting us today. To our extraordinary cabinet, an extraordinary group, and again to the legislators. And by the way, the First Lady of New Jersey's in the house. Tammy Murphy's with us. So. And not just any legislators, it's a murderer's row. It's a lineup. It's led by Governor Cody down there. I see you down there, Governor. Yeah, it's a heck of a lineup. It is a great day to make some history for New Jersey's working families, and that's just what we're going to do. We've talked long enough about putting New Jersey on a responsible path to $15 an hour minimum wage. Today, we start our way on this path. Today, we make our economy both fairer and stronger. I am so honored, in particular, not just the legislators and electeds and all the other distinguished guests. I'm so honored to be here with so many of the advocates who have led the fight for 15. And again, the legislators who proudly put their names in this bill, and the members of our team who will ensure that workers get paid their fair wages. And I want to shout out two of our cabinet, led by our extraordinary Lieutenant Governor, Sheila Oliver. And importantly, when you're going to raise the minimum wage, you got to thank the Commissioner of Labor, Rob Angelo, and the staff. And his staff at the Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division, who are with us as well today. And as honored as I am, I'm even more honored to be surrounded by families who now will have their hard work rewarded by a fair and growing wage and the opportunity to join the middle class. Those who will be able to better provide for themselves and their families, and those who will now be full partners in our state's economic resurgence. Today, our minimum wage stands at $8.85 an hour. On July 1st, for hundreds of thousands of full-time working New Jerseyans, it will rise to $10 an hour. And on January 1st, it'll go to $11 an hour. That means over the last 6 months of this year alone, these families will see $1,200 more right in their pockets. And then each successive January 1st till the year 2024, and an ever-increasing number of families will see an extra $2,100 in their paychecks each year as the wages rise by $1 a year each January. And when we hit the long-awaited number of $15 an hour on January 1st, 2024, minimum wage workers will be making cumulatively nearly $13,000 per year more than they do now. Two weeks ago, the New York Times asked residents of Trenton what this will mean. They said it'll mean peace of mind to make the rent. A business owner said it will mean more customers. One father said he would use his raise to take his son bowling and to the movies and to buy him a pizza. And he said, I quote him, "It's good for my boy. It's about time." Amen. It is about time. Amen. It is about time. It is about making New Jersey more affordable. This is a huge step forward for more than 1.2 million workers to be able to more capably provide for themselves and for their families. It is also good, by the way, for that bowling alley, for that movie theater, and for that pizzeria. And we cannot ignore the countless young people across New Jersey who work to pay their way through college or who hope to save enough to get a college degree. This will help them immeasurably and put a degree and a better life and a career closer within their reach. Our ability to do this would not have been possible without the commitment of Senate President Steve Sweeney and Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin. In fact, our very first event together after my election with Congressman Donald Norcross, who is fighting to get a $15 federal minimum wage, was about raising the wage. And again, I thank them for their partnership to get it done. By the way, I haven't mentioned them, but I have to mention, speaking of Donald Norcross, we have two extraordinary congressmen with us tonight. The singular Frank Pallone and Tom Malinowski are in the House. I know the Lieutenant Governor is going to be in Washington tomorrow night. Needless to say, we'll all be thinking of you down there. I want to also thank the other sponsors. Assemblywomen Cleopatra Tucker, Clea Warrior, Brittany Timberlake, Gabby Mosquera, and Angela McKnight. And Assemblymen Joe Egan, Dan Benson, Paul Moriarty, and Tom Giblin. I also have to give a shout out. I think, Joe Vitale, you had the original minimum wage bill back in the day, in the 19th century. Thank you, Joe, for your leadership. And I want to also give Nellie Poe and Shavonda Sumter a shout out for their leadership on tipped minimum wage. I thank the terrific advocates whose fire in this fight never died, the entire Raise the Wage Coalition, including New Jersey Working Families. Make the road, New Jersey. And particularly your youth organizers. New Jersey Policy Perspective deserves a shout out. The Anti-Poverty Network deserves a shout-out. New Jersey Citizen Action deserves a shout-out. And needless to say, our brothers and laborers, sisters in organized labor. Easy. We're good. You know, it's a good day when each of the brothers and sister organizations of labor are trying to outscream each other. It's a good day in New Jersey. I also want to thank the businesses who stepped up and said a $15 an hour minimum wage is the right thing to do. And the New Jersey Sustainable Business Council for their efforts. Together, all of us, we are doing the right thing for our state and its families. Together, we are making New Jersey a national model for the responsible, progressive economic policies that our country needs. In New Jersey, we have won the fight for 15, but we will never stop fighting for fairness for all of our working families. Thank you all. It is now my, It is now my distinct honor to introduce the singular, the one and only, our Lieutenant Governor, Sheila Oliver. Great job, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You know, sitting here, I was reminded back when I was 13. And we read a book called A Tale of Two Cities. And many of you know I always speak of this book. It was a book about the French Revolution, those who had and those who had not. And a queen who lived in a castle said to the court, well, if the people have no bread, then let them eat cake. At age 13, I understood the economic reality of countries and nations and societies. I learned that we must always walk in the other person's shoes. When I went to the State Assembly in 2004, I asked Speaker Roberts to appoint me to the Labor Committee. One of the first bills that we heard, 2004, was to raise the minimum wage. I shall never forget a business owner stepping to the mic, telling us that if we raised the minimum wage, she would not be able to keep her second vacation home. I also heard one of my colleagues from the other side of the aisle say to me, well, if people wanted a higher minimum wage, they should go to law school like he did. We have been fighting literally for 15, 16 years in the State House to raise the minimum wage to a wage that people can move their lives forward. It took the election of a Democratic governor, Governor Phil Murphy, along with a Democratic Senate President, Senator Stephen Sweeney, and an Assembly Speaker, Craig Coughlin, to move us to this point. I want you to just think, when I was 14, I had my first job. I made $1.40 an hour. Fast forward to 2010, minimum wage was only $7.25. Do the math. From $1.40 an hour in the 60s to $7.25. That is immoral, absolutely immoral. But now we are on a trajectory to help people pay their bills. I know what it's like to have to juggle car insurance payment, car note, you know, that credit card bill, and children's tuition, and the things that children need to go to school, the Halloween costumes, the Christmas gifts. You've been making these tough decisions for far too long in New Jersey. And hopefully, with the elevation of the minimum wage, families can begin to offer their children a better quality of life. And I want to thank my colleagues in both the Assembly and the Senate for hanging in there with their leadership and doing the right thing on behalf of the people of New Jersey. Now, I'm going to close with this. As I look at the SEIU regalia over there, I am reminded of the late Gail Muhammad. Gail fought for cafeteria workers for years. For years. And one of the things that Gail would always say, if we fight, we win. If we fight, we win. I don't want you to forget 2020, because we need a federal minimum wage elevated. There are people around the country making $5.15 an hour, making subhuman types of wages. In 2020, pay attention. Let us fight to win. Let's make sure we hit the streets and elect a Democratic president who's gonna lead us, who is going to lead us to a $15 minimum wage all across this country. Thank you.
As Barack Obama would say, Sheila's fired up and ready to go. I'd be remiss if I didn't add to the list of advocates who have been blue in the face on minimum wage. Blue Wave New Jersey, Marcia, I see out there. Thank you for all you've done. I also thanked our hosts in Elizabeth and in Union County, but there are a whole passel of counties represented here. I'm going to probably screw this up, but I know we got Bergen counties in the House, Hudson counties in the House, Passaic counties in the House, Essex County is in the House, Mercer county's in the House, Burlington county's in the House, and if we miss any others in the House, please shout us out. Middlesex. Union, I started with Union. I meant to say Union County's in the House. Big day for the word union, I might add. You know what? It takes a village to get something like this done. Easier said than done, and you can't do it alone, no matter how good your intentions are. And I know I speak on behalf of Sheila in our administration when we have to tip our cap to the legislative leaders. And I'd like to ask right now to come on up and say a few words, the Speaker of the General Assembly and a champion for $15 and so much else, Craig Coughlin's in the House.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. This is an exciting day. And by the way, Sheila, if we're talking about 2020, I think I know a guy who might lead that ticket. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, my colleagues and my friends. I'm going to name them shamelessly because they work so hard on this bill, too. We have any number of Assembly people here. We have Assemblywoman Tucker, Spate, McKnight, Keano. You can clap for all of them. Timberlake, Pinkin, Assemblyman Benson, Holly, Spearman, Chirolotti, Giblin, Assemblywoman Egan-Jones, Assemblywoman Jimenez, Assemblywoman Borelli, Assemblyman Mejia, and Assemblyman Mukherjee. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your support. Thank you for making this happen. This doesn't happen unless it's for your support, and you did it. You should be proud of yourselves. Today is a big day for New Jersey. Today is an exciting day for New Jersey. And let's thank all of the people who work so hard, the advocates in this room, the workers like you, the people who care, the people who came and testified, the people who carried signs, and the people who said, we will not accept anything other than $15 an hour. You made it possible. Give yourself a round of applause. We all know. we all know that there can be no disagreement, that when the economy and the government work together, it's not just the people at the top who should prosper, it should be the people who do the work, the people who show up every day and do it. The fundamental reality is that $8.85 is not enough in this state. And the growth from $8.60 to $8.25, while good, is not enough. And so we changed that. It took months. It took proposals. It took plans. It took meetings with advocates and opponents, and it took meetings among legislative leadership. But together, we did it. And so today, we have a bill that is balanced, that is fair to everybody, that raises the minimum wage to $15 for most people, and yet recognizes the importance of the small business people in the state of New Jersey. But it does more as well. It includes an increase for tipped workers for the first time in 26 years. And this was the Senate President's idea, and it's a grand one, to include a tax credit to protect the most vulnerable workers. It includes a training way so we can encourage businesses to hire more people. And it includes studies so that we make sure we're getting it right. It is a bill that is thorough and is thoughtful. It is reflective of what is good and right and best for New Jersey, and together we did it. And when we do raise the minimum wage, we're going to make sure that people continue to grow, that the CPI will stay in place, and that people will be able perhaps to give up one of their 2 or 3 jobs and get more involved in their community, spend more time with their kids, and make a difference in the community. We did it. We did it because of you. I can't thank you enough. I have to tell you, we passed the bill on my birthday, and I got to tell you, giving 1 million people a raise on your birthday is the best gift you could ever have. So thank you all. Thank you very much. It is my privilege to introduce our Senate President, my dear friend, Stephen Sweeney.
So I just got to say one thing before the Senate President comes up. In addition to thanking him again and Craig for their leadership on this, and we got this done together. This is a team effort. Gloucester County is in the House. Ladies and gentlemen, the Senate President, Steve Sweeney.
Thank you. The speaker just put me on the spot. Now I got to name my members. And I didn't have anybody writing it down for me, Speaker. I want to thank my co-prime sponsor, Joe Vitale. This has been a passion of his forever, as the governor spoke about. Senator Poe, Senator Scuteri, Senator Cryan, Senator Cody. We don't get this done alone. We get it done together. And I want to thank the governor. I really want to thank the governor. People say you never thank him. I thank him all the time for stuff like this. We fight sometimes, but we thank him for this. Most importantly, because we are doing something very special today. This is one of the biggest moments I've ever had in the legislature. And I want to thank Speaker Coughlin for his leadership. Because, you know, at one time they said, you know, 3 Irish guys, they're going to get along perfectly. Craig's been able to navigate some personalities at times. And again, Craig, for your leadership, we're here today. And we all wanted to get this done. We all wanted to get it done for the right reason. For me, I was the prime sponsor both times we raised the minimum wage last time. And I was the chair, I told the Lieutenant Governor, I was the chair of the Labor Committee one day when a Spanish-speaking gentleman came before the committee. And he had an interpreter. And he spoke, and he spoke through an interpreter. And one of the senators happened to be a Republican, not surprising, said, well, don't you think if you learned English, you could get a better life? And this guy gave the best line ever and embarrassed the hell out of this senator. He said, listen, I work 16, 18 hours a day, 6 days, and if I'm lucky, 7 days a week. You pay me more, I'll learn English, I'll make a better life for myself. That speech stuck with me my whole life. That's what this is about. It's about improving the quality of life, giving people that go to work, by the way, These are people that work very hard every single day, an opportunity to have a better quality of life. And when we had the argument with the business community, and we did a good job with this bill, we balanced this bill regardless of what anyone says. What you're talking about is giving people a chance. You know, I said to somebody, oh, believe me, I said, I've never seen so many Maseratis and Porsches on the turnpike in my life. And someone called my office and started screaming at me that he has a Maserati and how dare I villainize the guy. I'm not villainizing anyone. My point is the rich are getting richer and the workers are getting less. And that's how the rich get wealthier off the backs of us. What we've been able to do with this bill is to strike a balance. It's a fair bill, it's an honest bill, but the reality is we're lifting people up. And when we lift people up, and remember this, people that go to work every single day, and you know something, and do some of the toughest jobs in the world. And you know, and they don't complain, they're happy to have a job. So today we start on a path, and what I'm really thrilled about is I think in 2013, we put the CPI in the Constitution. So you're not gonna have a fight every so many years to raise the minimum wage, because we did it right, and we did it together. So thank you all. Congratulations.
Okay, you ready? We got one more thing to do. That's to go down and sign this bill so it's the law of the land.